Hello everyone, Dr. Wanda coming to you again from our clinic. This is Saturday, April the 11th. It is Holy Saturday, of course, the day between Good Friday and Easter Sunday, and so we're hoping that you have a wonderful long weekend and that you're marking this special occasion in a way that's special for you and your family. The segment I want to talk about today is called Stretching for People Who Don't Like Stretches. The purpose of stretching is to increase our flexibility and gain as much movement as we can. We are built to move, and so we actually heal through movement. Now, movement is important because it allows us to function to our maximum, and this is what gives us our highest quality of life. On the other hand, a lack of movement actually leads to joint degeneration, scar tissue formation, and actually shortens the length of our muscles. Now, what happens if you don't actually have full motion? Let's take an elbow, for instance. If you go from here but can only go this far rather than this far, because of maybe your job situation or things that you commonly do in life, eventually you're going to lose that ability to move that full length of motion. You're only going to have this much motion. Okay. Now that's maybe not a big deal for a joint like an elbow, but if you've ever known anybody with frozen shoulder, where they've really lost the ability to move their shoulder, you know how much that can affect their quality of life. The other reason it's important to move is because it affects how our brain and nervous system works. We all have receptors in our joints called mechanoreceptors, which read the messages when our joints are firing and send those messages up our spinal cord into our brain. And it rejuvenates the brain. It's actually very much like a windmill that recharges a battery. Now, most of our mechanoreceptors are in the spine. And so the most recharge of our brain and spinal system occurs through full spinal motion. If you're not regularly going through as much motion as you can, you will not be using your nervous system to its maximum potential. Now, chiropractors are very important, of course, for keeping the joints of your spine aligned, and that's what allows you to maximize some of the movement in your spine, and it starts to maximize the delivery of the messages up into your brain. Of course, shortened muscles and muscles with scar tissue can also cause problems. And so that's why stretching is important, to lengthen those shortened muscles and to then help move the joints to the full range of motion. Now, what if you don't like stretches? Then you can do something called mobilizations, which actually accomplish much the same thing as stretches. So I'm going to show you the basic motions or the basic range of motions, or basic mobilizations of the neck and lower back to kind of introduce you to this concept. Your neck moves in 6 basic directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, to do mobilizations for the neck, you simply go from one opposite motion to the other as far as you can 10 times. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and so on. Then side to side, 1, 1, 2, 2, and so on. And then the rotation ones, 1, 1, 2, 2. Now, if you'll notice, there you can have a little bit of a pause at the end of the range of motion, and then go back to the other way. Okay. Only go as far as your body is going to allow you to go. That's an important point with these. If you can move fully to one side, but only partially to the other side, still do whatever you can. And what you're doing is retraining the muscles and retraining the joints into what you want to do, and eventually, if you stay consistent with it, go the entire direction. So that's the neck. The low back now, I'm going to show you a couple, first of all, seated. Nancy, can you just tip that down just a touch, please? Thank you. So for the rotation ones, you can stay seated. Your feet are going to be planted. Your knees are going to be parted a little bit. You're going to just comfortably have your arms across your chest, and you're going to just move to one side. 1, 1, 2, 2, and so on. Okay. Another one that you can do, that I'll have you try to do, is you'll actually have to reach down, hands to the ground if you can. If you can't quite make the ground, that's fine. But you want to reach down and come on back up. If that's too easy for you, you can always start with the hands behind your neck, and that will allow you to go a little bit further. An important part of this particular motion is that you only want to do it back up to the upright position. You don't want to go too far back. Now, to do that particular motion, you can do that standing. So you're going to start with your hands on your waist. You go back and down. Back and down. You want to keep the knees straight for all of these motions, okay? And you want to do that 10 times in either direction. And for the side to side, legs are going to be further apart, hands are going to be to the side, and go down as far as you can. Run that hand down the side of your leg to each side. Again, 10 times per side. You can do it, as I mentioned before, a little pause at the end of each motion. And the big thing with these is to be as consistent as you possibly can. If you can do it a couple times a day, that is really going to do a great job in getting motion back into those joints and lengthening those muscles. They're very simple, they're very basic movements. Anybody can do them, but be consistent with them. Now, I want to give a shout out to Brian. Brian emailed us what I thought was a very funny little tidbit. He calls it Quarantines, the Long-Term Effects. And he lists 16 things that I think were hilarious. We're going to include it on the link in his email and get you that list, because I think it's worth a smile. I want to mention kind of our special days today. I started that in the last video. April 11th marks some special days. Of course, Holy Saturdays we already mentioned. Believe it or not, this is 8-track tape day. 8 tracks. Some of you younger people don't even know what the heck that is. 8 tracks were one of the first ways that we could play our own music rather than listening to a radio. Of course, records predated that, but 8 tracks gave us that freedom in our cars. So if anybody has 8-track tapes, I'm just curious as to who has them left. Email us at info@wanderchiropractic.com. That's info@wanderchiropractic.com. And just tell me what you have. I'm very curious to hear what 8 tracks still exist out there. This is also Submarine Day. Take your submarine out for a run today? I don't know. And it's also National Pet Day. So I want to introduce to you our pet, whose name is Daisy. 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 Come here, Daisy. There's Daisy. Come here, sweetie. This is our dog, Daisy. She is a rescue pup. So we're not 100% sure what breed she is, but she is a partial, at least German Shepherd. We think there's some Rhodesian Ridgeback in her, and maybe even some Husky, because she absolutely loves the cold. But she's going to be turning 4 this coming week, so we're going to celebrate her birthday. And speaking of birthdays, it's now time for the weekly birthday list. So I'm going to put my hat on. And of course, it's not complete without the horn, which Daisy really doesn't like much. But today's birthdays, or this week's birthdays, the week past, Mike, Marnie, and Daphne. Daphne McDonough, our own laser tech here, celebrated a birthday. Jackie, Nikki, Melissa, Jaden, one of our massage therapists, also celebrated a birthday this week. Happy birthday to you. And Jade also had a birthday. So I hope we're able to celebrate it in a fun and meaningful way. Again, we are closed, except for emergency situations. So if something does come up that requires our attention, call our main office line at 780-460-8030. We're answering that voicemail several times a day, and we'll give you a call back and discuss whether this is something that we can get you in for. I hope you have a wonderful long weekend, and looking forward to catching up with you next week. Take care.